The Austin bombing is continuing to happen. You had a bombing that happened just the other day where you had a tripwire. When two guys went across the tripwire, the bomb exploded. And now you had a package explode at the Fedex outside of the Austin area.
Overnight, a package possibly bound for Austin exploded shortly after midnight at a FedEx facility in Schertz, Texas, about an hour south of Austin. The blast follows a series of package explosions in the Austin area that have left 2 people dead and 4 injured. The Associated Press reporting federal agents say the package is likely linked to those other attacks by what they believe is a serial bomber. Back in Austin, a tripwire twist has that city on edge.
We are clearly dealing with what we expect to be a serial bomber at this point.
500 FBI and ATF agents working a growing mystery after Austin's 4th explosion this month. You can hear the latest blast on this surveillance video. It was recorded at John Karras' home nearby.
How disconcerting is it to have this in your neighborhood?
It's extremely disconcerting because we have children that walk those sidewalks multiple times a day.
The previous 3 bombs came in packages made to look like deliveries quietly left on doorsteps. 17-year-old Draylon Mason and 39-year-old Anthony House were killed in separate incidents. But this latest bomb was different, left on the side of the road, police say, and triggered by a tripwire.
With this tripwire, this changes things. It's more sophisticated. It's not targeted to individuals.
22-year-old Will Grody was riding his bike in the dark, his grandfather says, when he and another friend who was on foot hit the wire. The grandfather tells NBC News the explosion left nails stuck in Grody's legs.
Engine 17, a reported explosion.
The entire neighborhood placed on lockdown for much of the day.
Obviously, everybody is really anxious and concerned about this. Everyone wants answers.
The blast came just hours after the police chief made this personal plea directly to the bomber.
We want to understand what brought you to this point, and we want to listen to you.
This is so unusual.
This man, who didn't want us to use his name, heard this latest explosion right near his home.
How worried are you that there could be another explosion?
Very worried. Yeah, I think the entire neighborhood is on edge. All of Austin, I think, is on edge.
The bombing has been going on since the beginning of March, and you had 2 brothers that was killed due to these terroristic bombings. And we heard no word from Donald Trump at all. But if the suspect would possibly have been an Arab guy, Mr. Twitter Fingers would have been going in about how we need to get the animals out. You had a woman, a 75-year-old Latina woman that was injured in another bombing. He still didn't say anything at all. He's always on Twitter. Did he say that's his place to talk? So he had to deal with fake news, etc. Now the victims that came out are 2 white guys. And now all of a sudden, there's a statement from Donald Trump. Let's roll that clip.
The bombings in Austin are terrible. Local, state, and federal are working hand in hand to get to the bottom of it. This is obviously a very, very sick individual, or maybe individuals. These are sick people, and we will get to the bottom of it. We will be very strong. We have all sorts of federal agencies over there right now. We're searching what's going on in Austin, a great place, a tremendous place, is absolutely disgraceful. So we have a lot of power over there. We're looking. It's not easy to find, but these are sick people, and we have to find them as soon as possible. We have to find them really immediately. I will say, working with Texas, working with the local governments has been great, but we have to find this very sick person or people.
You notice a pattern with Donald Trump? Do you notice that in Charlottesville, he was quiet? Do you notice in Las Vegas, he was quiet? Do you notice in the Southern church shooting, he was quiet? Did you notice in the shootings that led up to the Parkland school shooting, he was quiet? And out of all those times that we was talking about, it was either mental illness, and then Charlottesville, they are very good people. In this one, he said a very sick individual or sick individuals, basically mental illness. Because the police have a pretty good idea what persuasion of human being that's doing this. So he's already given that up. So I'm pointing this out to you guys, and I tried to back away from that the first time I reported on this. I want to see how it's going to be looked at. I want to see how things are going to happen. This has nothing to do with the police or the FBI, ATF. I'm just paying attention to Donald Trump. I'm paying attention to the mainstream media. It was never an issue too much until now 2 white guys had got harmed because this bomber went to a suburban white area in Austin and did this. Now, this is what I'm talking about. These people, whether in the media, Trump, etc., they only care about themselves. And so don't come over here telling me about what I should be reporting on and why I focus on issues within the black community, because you see what the mainstream media and Donald Trump do. Bombings was never an issue to Donald Trump until a Caucasian person got injured. Now, from the beginning, we stated here, they need to be caught. It's wrong what they're doing. This is terrorism. We said that from the beginning. Don't come up here now all of a sudden and want to start talking about it, and they still won't label this as terrorism. You have bombings, but like I said, if this was an Arab guy, if this was a black guy, if this was a Latino guy or whoever else, they'd have been saying it is terrorism. I stated this on Twitter. They would never call a white male a terrorist in this country. At least they won't do it. They won't do it. No matter how many bombs that he blow up, how many buildings that he blow up, they're not going to do that. They're always going to protect their own. This is the way the system of white supremacy works. And just as much as that New York Times article came out, and I'm going to get into that at a later time, talking about basically how the system is rigged for them to win, but also the system is rigged to protect them as well. And when it comes to criminal charges, incarceration, etc. So watch how the narratives play out now since this bomber decides to start hurting Caucasian people. Now, maybe his original goal was to just go after black people and other non-white people, but maybe he said, shoot, I'm not getting the attention I want out of this. So the only way I get attention is I'm gonna have to go harm somebody that look like myself. And then I'm gonna get attention. Now the president's talking. And if they actually cared about just American citizens, just no matter what it happened to. Now, I'm not saying everybody else haven't been saying that, because I've been seeing people of all races have been saying, hey, we need to get this guy. This is dangerous. This is crazy. Why is this going on? Where's Trump? Everybody been saying it. There's no color with that. But in the way the mainstream media move, in the way Trump moves, it only matters unless it happens to a white person. Just period. And that's what's sick out of the whole thing. This guy needs to be caught. He is crazy. You know, we have all these white supremacist terrorist militia groups running around doing paramilitary training right here in Texas. They're constantly saying that they want a civil war. They want a race war. That's what they keep saying. Why haven't the FBI went just pick them up and start questioning them? You imagine if you had a black group or black groups running around here saying the exact same thing, and then bombings start happening in white areas all of a sudden? You better believe the FBI gonna pick up every last one of them and start questioning them, ask do they know what this bombing's about. They try to make up charges on them. But when you know you are a Caucasian male, you can be threatening that you want a civil war. You can threaten race war, and you can be training and learning weapons and how to kill people, and that's okay. And then you could just say it's my Second Amendment right when you clearly want to harm people in America. You want to be against the government. That's what you want to do. And nothing is being said. That's why I told y'all this system is nothing but a white supremacist system that is built to protect them and against all others that are non-white, especially the black man and black woman of America. The whole response is getting on my nerves with this situation from the mainstream media and Trump, because they didn't have this much fervor the first time it happened. They didn't have as much fervor the second time it happened. It didn't have this much fervor the third time it happened. When all of a sudden, oh my God, something needs to be done. I hope you guys pay attention to that. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Do you notice the same thing that I've noticed, that they wasn't even mentioning this the first 3 times until it happened with the tripwire? And make sure you subscribe and make sure you click the notification bell, because unfortunately, I don't know why, that if you don't click notification bell, you're not going to get every video in your video inbox.